Hello everyone, in this video we are just going to build a remote weather station using an OLED display, Raspberry Pi Pico W and DHT11 sensor. Let's get started. And this particular video is a combination of two different videos. So before we just used two different videos, one for interfacing OLED display with Raspberry Pi Pico and other for interfacing DHT11 sensor with Raspberry Pi Pico. So in this video we are just going to club those two videos to form a remote weather station. So we are just going to use the same scripts that we developed in both of that videos for integrating it into a single script for building a remote weather station in this particular video. To start off with, we are just going to discuss in detail about the schematic diagram that we are going to build in this particular video for the remote weather station. So here we very well know the OLED is having 4 pins, VCC ground for powering of the display, and it works on I2C protocol. So we have SCL and SDA, and this particular DHT11 sensor is having VCC ground for powering of the sensor and one data line which will be useful for fetching the temperature and humidity data from this particular sensor. So what we will do is we will just club the VCC of the DHT sensor and OLED display, and we are just going to power up this with the Raspberry Pi Pico power source. We are not going to use any external power source, we are just going to use the Raspberry Pi Pico power source. And also we will be connecting the ground of the OLED with the ground of DHT sensor, and we are going to connect it to the ground of Raspberry Pi Pico W. So I know this is a ground pin of Raspberry Pi Pico W, so I'm just connecting it to this particular pin. So this is nothing but this is pin number 1 and this is pin number 20, and this is pin number 21, and this one is the pin number 40. So this is the physical pin numbers available in Raspberry Pi Pico. So this is the power source connection, and regarding the SCL and SDA, we are just going to use the 16th pin. Sorry, actually this is not 16th GPIO pin as SDA and 17th GPIO as SCL. So here we very well know the SDA. I'm just going to connect it to 16th GPIO, and let me use another color. SCL, I'm just going to connect it to 17th GPIO. And regarding the data line of DHT, I'm just going to connect it to 18th GPIO pin of Raspberry Pi Pico, that is nothing but this one. That's it. So this is what the connections it is going to be in our breadboard. I'm just going to build the circuit in the breadboard, and I will be powering up this particular Raspberry Pi Pico with the help of this particular micro USB cable through the laptop USB port. That's it. Let's visualize the output in the hardware, and I will be using a soldering iron for increasing the temperature of the DHT sensor physically right over here. And before visualizing the output, let's get into the programming part for understanding how we are going to club two different programs from two different previous videos, that is interfacing of OLED display with Raspberry Pi Pico and interfacing of DHT sensor with Raspberry Pi Pico videos. I'm opening the Tony IDE, and here you can see this is the program that we wrote in the lecture of interfacing DHT11 with Raspberry Pi Pico W, and this is the lecture of program that we developed in the video interfacing OLED display with Raspberry Pi Pico W. So we are just going to club these two programs or script. I'm just going to create a new file right over here. Click on Ctrl N or this particular icon in your keyboard. Sorry, this particular icon right over here, and I'm going to copy this whole program, paste it. I'm closing this, and also I'm just going to copy this particular program also. I'm closing this, and I'm going to paste it just beneath this. Now I'm just going to save this particular program. Move to the respective folder where you want the program files to be saved. I'm saving it as weather station. It should be saved in .py Python format. That's it. So here I'm just going to put the import mission on the top. I don't want this frame buff. I want this time. It is okay. So DHT sensor, I'm just going to connect it to pin number 18, that is GPIO 18. So I'm just naming this, and these things I will be putting inside the while of 1 or while of true available right over here. So I'm pasting it here, and I don't want this buffer. This is for displaying the logo that we developed in that particular video. So I'm just deleting that. That's it. Here, before loading the program, I don't want this. Just delete this. This is also I don't want, but instead what we want here is we just want the text instance. Here, instead of the text right over here, I'm just going to display temperature in line number x-axis 0 and y-axis 2, and it should be lighted. And after that printing of temperature, I just want to print the temperature data. So what I will do right over here is I will just print the temp variable after converting that particular variable into string format. So str of temp variable that is defined right over here will provide me the temperature data. Similarly, I will just copy that and I will print the humidity data, but this time I will just print this text in 0 and 20th y value. Here, instead of 0th starting value, I will just put it as 100. Here I will just put it as 20 and 100. That's it. Now you can see the program is very simple. We have took the fetching of temperature and humidity data from DHT sensor from that particular program, and we have written right over here. Here we are just consolidated and printed the data that we fetched from DHT11 sensor onto the OLED display with the help of text instance. So here we are printing temperature in the line 1 with the x-axis 0 and y-axis 2 onto the display, and following that we are just printing the temperature data that we receive from the sensor in the x-axis 100 and y-axis 2. Similarly, we are printing the humidity data in a particular XY region of OLED display, and here we are printing the humidity data that we received in the x-axis 100 and y-axis 20. That's it. And this will help us to print the data onto the OLED display. So now let us just discuss or visualize the output in the hardware. I have saved this script and I am going to run this program by clicking on F5 in my keyboard or this particular icon right over here. So this is the output that we got in the hardware. Let me just try to increase the temperature of the sensor using the soldering ion. You can see there is gradual increase in temperature data displayed in the OLED display as I bring the soldering ion near the sensor element. This is the output that I got in the hardware. I hope you learned something new in this video. So see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.